being strong, the undying spirit. Matters basketball, Michael Jordan is a man among boys. One time there's an old commercial that shows him talking to his fans. And he's saying, I missed about 9,000 shots in my career. I lost approximately 300 games. On 26 occasions, I was entrusted with the game-winning shot. And once again, I missed. That's why I succeed. I think he's giving us a different concept of success. Failure doesn't define a man. Quit does. Defeat doesn't define a man. Quitting does. So this legendary basketballer is saying to us tonight, I'll accept failing as part of life, but I'll not accept not trying. I'll keep doing it until I perfect my game. While there are many things we can discuss about career, I'll just throw in some 5 points tonight. To finish strong in your career, number one, you've got to identify your purpose. Regrettably, the overwhelming majority of people in this life live through guesswork. They have never known who they are. They pursue money. They try to make ends meet. Life has no more meaning than struggling to get an income. They have never identified the cost to live and die for. To finish strong in your career, number two, you've got to focus. You've got to pursue that purpose. You've got to say no to secondary activity. You've got to put your all into this one thing and ignore every other passing cloud. To finish strong in your career, number three, like a good soldier, embrace personal discipline. Learn to say no to urges and cravings and impulses and unnecessary burdens and focus on the finishing line. To finish strong in your career, number four, you've got to pay the price. The man at the mountaintop didn't drop there. He walked there step by step. Greatness is preceded by a price. Your greatness is a fact of the price you're willing to pay. That's why I keep saying commitment is not a word. Commitment is an act, and it precedes greatness. There's not a great person that found himself or herself great. People are not naturally great. We become what we commit to. And number five, you've got to stay the course. You'll be tried. Your purpose will be tested during the rough terrains, not the smooth ride. To finish strong in your career, you've got to stay the course and finish the race. Tonight we're talking about finishing strong, and the first area I said is in our mind, mental. And number two, relationships. Number three, career. Let's go to number four. We've got to finish strong financially, stroke economically. There's none tonight who would want to be supported by the government in our old age. I know there are many countries doing that. But I know this live audience, none of us want to be a dependent in our old age. And perhaps as we continue with this forum tonight, there is a possibility there is someone in our midst who was doing well someday and something happened. You lost that job. You lost that business. And now you're lingering on the good old days. Reminders of good times are all around you. As you drive your old clunker, you find a car passing you by, the car you used to drive, but you can only admire it. You're walking past a restaurant and you can't get there anymore, and you used to be a regular patron. Then you see your neighbor taking their children to school, where you used to take your children, but you had to relocate them. Or even if they're in the same school, they can't go for that school trip where you used to take them. Or over Christmas holiday, perhaps, you used to take your children for a certain camp, kids camp, but they can't go there anymore. Or they could just be asking for a bicycle, or just a nice pair of new sneakers, and you can't afford them anymore. You used to hold bashes at home every single quarter. but that's history. And you're seated here wondering, can I rise again from the ashes like the proverbial phoenix? If that is you, if you're suffering from bankruptcy, you've been auctioned, or you are merely broke, or just in a financial mess, I think I have your message. And I want to share with you 3 things. Number 1, recognize it's a season. No season is permanent. I've read many times, and it came to pass. And it came to pass. And it came to pass. And I look at your eye and say, it will come to pass. So long as you're not mentally broke, it will come to pass. The only true disability is mental. There is a time for everything, and a season to every purpose under the earth. In your devotional time, I urge you tonight, go read and reread Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Because life is made of seasons. Accept what is, let go what was, and have faith in what will be. If you keep rereading the same old chapter, you will never open a new chapter in your life. Running away from your problems is a race you will never win. You've got to face your challenges head on and have a different mindset about challenges. For example, if you lost your job, could it be this was meant to usher you into your purposes in life? If you lost a relationship, could it be your purpose in life required more independence? You see, this mindset helps you have some energy to deal with the challenges that you're facing. My second suggestion tonight, get over it. Get over it and focus on what you can change. Now, let's face it. You can't afford the expensive cars anymore. You can't afford the expensive dinners anymore. You can't afford the holidays anymore. And you feel that you lost something. But I want to challenge you. Is it possible you lost nothing? Is it possible you lived in borrowed money and you didn't lose anything? That actually, those are not things you are affording in the first place. They are the things that got you into a financial mess. Number 3, deceased anger. Deceased anger. People who are down financially are highly vulnerable to anger. They are annoyed with the system. They are angry with the spouse who walked out on them, and now they've got to fend for the children all by themselves and pay the mortgage off. They are angry with the bankers and the auctioneers. They are angry with your friends and family that seem to ignore them. They are angry with everyone else. I suggest tonight, please stop basking in your righteous indignation. Ranting and raving and brooding will just delay your recovery and rob you your second chance. It will make you focus on the people and the things that you think hurt you, and you lose sight on what you need to do to get out of ground zero. You see, really, no one cares about your rat's headquarters. Least of all the banks, who don't care and don't even know your family lineage from the days of Adam. And your friends may not tell you this, but they are really getting tired with your whining. And you're going to lose all of them by the close of this year if you continue giving them all your troubles. They will never tell you that, so I'd rather tell you. They have a basket full of problems on their own. They don't need your basket full. Bankruptcy in particular is like a financial death. It wipes out your entire financial history, both successes and failures, rolls them up into one big ball and tosses them in the trash. Then you have a choice to make. Either to wallow in self-pity and misery, or get out of the bat and rebuild your future. and start looking at it as a financial rebirth and latch on to this new mindset. The banks and the courts have put it behind you. The real question tonight, will you also put it behind you? It's done. It's history. It's finished. The good news is bankruptcy has also wiped away your debts. Could you open a new page? Do you know how boring life would be if you don't have these struggles? In the absence of a conflict, there is no narrative. What makes life interesting is when you get out of trouble and give us the story of how things used to be thick. There has to be a wave, good times and not so good times. It's about seasons. And even those of us who are enjoying a relatively good season right now, you don't know about tomorrow. We could get into another season. We've got to build our inner strength to finish strong financially. Number 5, we need to finish strong in our health. We need to finish strong in our health. In 1988, Assunta Wagura tested HIV positive. She was stigmatized. In those days, we didn't know how to handle HIV/AIDS. Expelled from college, rejected by friends. Her family began making her funeral arrangements. She attempted suicide on several occasions. She was robbed everything in life, dignity, everything. But her turning around point was that moment she decided to go public about her new status. And she decided head on to take back everything HIV robbed her. Assunta is not your ordinary woman. That woman who perceived sex as dirty and blamed it for fixing her entire life, she decided to get married to the love of her life, Richard. She decided to get children in that status, and she has 2 nice children, HIV negative. She decided to become a crusader of hope. Her motto is rebuilding broken hearts. She published one of the best-selling books in the world, From Heartbreak to Daybreak. If you are Kenyan, you should be recognizing this weekly columnist. She's living in affluence, has traveled the world over. The same thing that robbed her of her dignity has become the agency of her dignity. What changed? The HIV status or her state of mind? You see, the average person, because I'm saying this because between 1988 and today, 20 years later, Assunta growing strong, we have lost millions of people around the world to HIV/AIDS. And the primary reason is this. The average person who gets diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, they begin to dig their graves in their head. They organize their eulogy in their head. They conduct their own funeral service in their head. And in a few days, the body completes the mental picture. They died long ago. They were only waiting to make it official. They go ballistic with the status. Assunta tells people who have just tested, life has just begun. Would you have the same courage Assunta has? 28 years going strong. She has no apologies about her past. While she believes she's a strong-willed woman, I must add a rejoinder. She believes divine favor has played a bigger role than her inner strength. She knows God has kept her to date to be a testimony that the person you left at home because they are sick can also live again. In 2003, Chris Carl, a young New Yorker girl, went for a regular checkup in a hospital that turned disastrous. They diagnosed her with an incurable, rare stage 4 cancer of the liver and the lungs. But she decided to challenge the diagnosis through nutritional lifestyle, and she turned her personal experience into a series of successful self-help groups and documentaries. Not only did she regain her health, but she has made a big business out of it. She has turned her own lemon into lemonade, and 13 years later, right now, she's revered as the leading expert in nutritional living. And she has proved that cancer can be cured through lifestyle. What precedes, however, is your mental status. Let me make a disclaimer tonight. I am not a health expert, and I will not try to pretend to be one. But every single expert advice boils down to two issues: diet and exercise. Diet and exercise. That's why this morning, despite the fact that I was attacked by flu 3 days ago, I still jogged for 3 kilometers. But I believe something more fundamental than diet and exercise is what you feed your mind with. And because of the many negative things outside this auditorium, it is in your self-interest in terms of your health, career, relational, to be coming to these meetings. For you to keep your mental alert. Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest brains since the beginning of time, said this: it is not about the physical ability, but it's about your tenacity, indomitable will, the undying spirit. If you be asked tonight to summarize what I've been speaking about, I'll say 3 things about finishing strong. To finish strong, number 1, focus on your race. To finish strong, number 1, focus on your race. For some of you who've been my close followers, I think you know one of my favorite stories. It's about John Stephen Awori, the Tanzanian athlete who was scheduled for marathon in Mexico in the summer of 1968. And on the 19th minute, he had a terrible knee injury that was unable to run. He dragged his way to the finishing line. And as soon as he crossed the finishing line, the reporters went over to him and asked him, how come you kept on running after the stadium lights had gone off? The medals were already awarded. And he looked straight into the eyes of the journalists and said, excuse me, gentlemen and ladies, when my country sent me to this country and paid the air ticket, they never sent me here to compare myself with the other athletes. They sent me here to finish the race. Focusing on my race, not on the race of the others. Running on my track, not on the fast lane, but on my track, at my pace, doing my very best. The only person you need to convince you're doing your best is you. The only approval you need in this life is a conviction you are doing your very best. To finish strong, number 2, keep moving. Keep moving. It's Albert Einstein who said life is like riding a bicycle. To keep